We're on, Jimmy.
And we are live. Good morning. Beautiful day in Melbourne. Happy Thursday in lockdown. What are we? 6.2 or 6.3 or whatever it is. But good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Robbie. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, my friend. Very well, my friend. And thank you for joining us. And so, folks, we thought we'd do something a little bit different again today, like we did last year during lockdown, and ask some of our friends that are in other businesses in different industries to join us, because we know that COVID impacts many, many businesses. And the reality is that whilst some might do okay during lockdown, the vast majority of businesses are affected severely. And of course, none more so than hospitality. The hospitality industry is the heartbeat of this city. We all know that. We all love our cafes, we love our restaurants, and we always talk about supporting local. But hospitality is the absolute heartbeat, and it's been affected severely. But so we thought today, I want to welcome the owner and operator of one of Melbourne's most iconic venues, the Botanical Hotel in Domain Road, South Yarra, and my good friend Rabi Yani. Rabi, welcome, my friend. It's great to have you join us.
Thank you. What an honour, and gents, well done on this initiative. It really does give us an opportunity to look at other industries as well, and to be speaking to such professionals as yourselves, and give us a voice. That's very, very much appreciated. So good morning to you too.
Mate, thanks, Robbie. Much appreciated.
Much appreciated, mate. Well, let's get into it, folks. So, here we are. I said before, we're in lockdown 6. What do we call this one, Rabi? Do we call it 6 point? We're sort of, what are we, third week in now of a snap lockdown. Do we call this one 6.2, 6.3?
Look, if it wasn't so serious, it'd probably, and have such serious consequences, it would be quite laughable. But I call it 6.2 subsection 2, because each day it's a day-by-day proposition. So it is reading a little bit like legislation, so with subsections being bolted on as we go along, partly because our leaders actually don't know what to do, or are choosing to not know what to do. But it is a day-by-day proposition, so you can call it pretty much anything you want, but it does start with a 6.
Well, let's stick to 6.2. But, mate, tell us importantly, what impact has it had on hospitality? We've seen you talk on media, on the news and what have you, through earlier lockdowns. Clearly, it's had a massive impact on your business and other businesses and other operators in hospitality. But tell us, give us a snapshot on what that looks like, and which lockdown has had the most impact.
Look, I think they've all had their own effect in a way. The most recent one with 4 hours notice, or just under 4 hours notice to go into lockdown, I think that was probably the harshest. Whilst I understand why, and the justification behind it is somewhat marketable and plausible, it doesn't negate the effect it has on people. Now, I'll just start on the mental fitness of each individual when knowing that the lockdown is looming, and then it does come into effect and it's been articulated as such, this is going to happen. The effect it has on our team, the effect it has on our guests, and the effect it has on our suppliers, which we can't for one moment, not take into serious consideration. We're dealing with fresh food. We're not dealing with something that has a shelf life that's extensive. Once oysters are bought from the farmers, the oysters are bought. You can't just freeze them down. You can't preserve them. Soft herbs, edible flowers, fruit and vegetables. There are people that are affected by this a hell of a lot more than what I think we see, we hear, or we're told. And it does put us in a situation that is quite vulnerable.
Yeah, no, Robbie, I think you make a good point. You touched on just briefly regarding your staff, right? You employ so many people at your business. How does it affect them?
So we have a team of 57. And fortunately for us, given where we're located and how we attempt to navigate these waters, we can keep most engaged. And for me, keep remaining engaged with our community is very, very important. Commercially, I will be honest with you, if I was just to look at the numbers, closing the doors and reopening when we're allowed to, unencumbered, is the way to do it. However, you can't forego the value of remaining connected with your community and keeping your team connected with your community. They still have a purpose. They have a need, or to come into work. There's espresso coffee available to them. There's a gorgeous garden out their front door, which is the Royal Botanic Gardens. They still remain connected and communicate with our locals, and people need people.
Yeah.
So for us, it's about working out, right, out of the 57, who needs to be here? And we work back from there. Do I need a team of 8 to 12 each day working front of house and about 6 working 2 shifts back of house? Probably not. But I do it because there's a long-term plan here, and there's long-term effect of them not being here. So it's an investment on my part into our people.
Yeah, no, mate, spot on, mate. And I think, to listen to what you're saying there, well done on just keeping them there and just supporting them, right? It's the most important thing as a business owner at the moment.
The interesting thing, as a side note to that, I dare say that a lot of the hospitality workers, the casuals, forget the full-timers, let's talk about the casuals that were, in many cases, they were overseas students. And they were people that were living here that had moved to another country without their family for an education, for a brighter future. A lot of them have left. A lot of them had to go back. And we hear reports of the hospitality industry, finding it tough to get good people, finding it tough to have staff, because, of course, you've got to go through a training period. There's a time frame before they become productive, before they're actually of use to you. You have to invest time, like in any business. We know in our business, Ravi, that when we put a staff member on, in many cases, depending on the department, it could be a 6 to 12 month process of training before they're ready to do what we expect them to do. I understand that obviously in hospitality, particularly, you're a service industry, right? And so your team, and I know how well drilled your machine is firsthand, because we frequent your venue, but I've got to take my hat off and compliment you that your staff, that the team that you have there, is a well-oiled machine. But clearly there's been an impact on some of the casuals and the ones that are overseas students that for whatever reason had to leave, and the ones that are still here that don't have casual work.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. And we learned a lesson this time last year when we were going through this. All along, I've maintained that we need a plan. And as they say, a fool with a plan will outsmart a genius without one. The plan needs to be proportionate to the medical risk and the commercial risks and implications you have on your business.
Yep.
Your business is your people. We are in the business of managing people. Yeah. And for me, if I need to ensure that these guys are here at the other side and in the short term benefits them mentally, then again, that's an investment on my part as a business owner and operator. Unfortunately, some of my peers aren't in that position where they can provide that engagement with the community because they just don't have the passing traffic. They are in the CBD, they are in towers, they're in buildings that are empty. Yeah. So for myself, I look at where can I play to our strengths. As a result of the lockdown and just really thinking, how do we keep ourselves busy? Because once you get past the housekeeping and tidying things up and a coat of paint and some new furniture and a bit of upholstery, because a venue needs some maintenance, you then start looking, what can we do? So we launched into the food production of heat and serve meals this time last year. We now supply 31 independent groceries in around Victoria. And we're looking by Father's Day weekend, we're in the catalogue of Metcash going into New South Wales, Queensland, Tasmania, and any other Ritchie's IGA that's outside of the 31 that we supply at the moment. What that has done, that's kept 3 or 4 people employed, and it has created another role where we've had to bring on, or not had to, I've chosen to bring on to grow it, a retail manager who manages all our off-prem. So with the passage of time and looking forward to the future, I'm hoping that this initiative, or another spoke in the wheel of Botanical Hotel, will not somewhat compensate, but make up for the lost time that we've endured as a result of lockdown. What I'm saying is to my peers and to anyone listening, there are opportunities. You need to find them and perhaps listen a little bit less to the media. We've got some amazing people around us, people such as yourself, Jim, that I would never undervalue or underrate and underestimate. The love that my team has for you is as a result of you and your words of encouragement. And when you do come in here, whether it's for 5 minutes or 15, it doesn't matter. It just puts that spring in their step. And that's about that community engagement that I was talking about. So there are opportunities. And I'm not going to sit here and say, it's all doom and gloom. And I'm not going to say it's all pie in the sky stuff either. It's the real world. Navigate through it. And again, have a plan that's proportionate to the medical risk, protecting your team, protecting your consumers, protecting your guests, protecting yourself. I've got 2 young kids. I don't want to take anything home, but have a plan and have it proportionate to the risk and the commercial reality of what it is you do in your industry.
Mate, extremely, extremely wise words. And you and I have spoken about this a few times. And we just coming back to real estate for a moment, right now, our business is shut down totally when it comes to the sales, other than the occasional sale that we can make virtually. So the harsh reality is that not many people are going to buy a property just looking at it on a video. They want to feel it, touch it, and what have you. Our property management team, thankfully, are working remotely. They're busier than ever managing issues with people that are struggling. Having said that, I look at what's happening in New South Wales. I look at what's happening in other states, and again, even in our industry, like again, the risk. Is that out the front of your place, Andrew?
Yeah, it is. On the back of my legs.
One of my brothers.
The Ferrari in Essendon. But I look at it and I think, in Sydney, for example, they're in lockdown, but property is essential. They can still have a one-on-one private COVID-safe inspection. Right now, we've got clients that have sold their property. Settlements are coming up. They have to move. They cannot go out and look at another property. Anyway, that's a segue. Let's get back to hospitality. Ravi, leading on from what you were just saying, tell me, what do you think the future, the short-term future with these stop-starts? Because clearly there's every chance that we're going to open up and then potentially be in other lockdowns as we move forward. That just seems to be the way of the world at the minute. Where do you see the future of hospitality? Is it pivoting and doing, pre-made meals and creating another side to your business? More importantly, where do you see it globally in Melbourne with hospitality?
Look, I do maintain that those who survive will know their businesses intimately. And as a result, we'll be able to provide our consumers, our guests, a far superior product, be it service, be it what's on the plate and in the glass. And it does come back strong. Hospitality, we're resilient. I know we've all heard that over the last 220 plus days. But more importantly, Melburnians are very supportive and very encouraging. And they rally around, and I've seen the way in which business comes back, and it comes back strong. And if in the process you have the smarts or the intelligence to pick up or implement a new initiative, then power to you, because with the passage of time, that will compensate, or if not, encourage you to grow and to prosper post this cloud. This cloud will pass. Whether it's 6 lockdowns or 16 lockdowns, it will pass. And we all have our view, political view, medical views, scientific. I don't know any of that. I'm a hotelier. I pull beers, you come in here and I'll serve you a steak and I'll tell you that is the best steak I could get that day to you on the plate, hand on heart. Now, I'm not going to sit here and wax lyrical about epidemiology and about politics and that. I think that's clear.
Yeah.
We need to start thinking about Victorians, our lives and our livelihoods. And again, have a plan that's proportionate, commercial and medical. I hate reading statistics about kids' helpline. You can do anything as an adult because you've chosen to. But when it comes to children, it breaks my heart. I have 2, one 6 and one 9. But we're there. There's plenty of love in our house, and they're baking with their mother, and I'm at work, and they're doing online learning and all that sort of stuff. Playgrounds get shut down. They've got a backyard. They've got a front yard. They can play. there's a lot of people out there doing it tough. And I ask anyone who is listening or will listen to this, just have a plan. Start with your own family, proportionate to medical, commercial, and the reality of living. But we will come back, and we'll come back strong. And Melbourne's hospitality scene, this time next year, I'm predicting will be stronger than ever.
Mate, that is great to hear, mate. And it's almost listening to what Jim tells me on a daily basis, the way you speak, mate. It's fantastic, And to anyone listen to this, mate, fantastic and wise words, my friend. And we touched on, as you just mentioned, the lockdowns. Coming out of lockdown. Obviously, we know only 11 days ago, whatever the case might be, we were just in a lockdown. Then we came out for a short term. What are your thoughts? And how long do you reckon it will take for Melbourne to recover from these lockdowns?
I think each industry will differ in terms of recovery, and what do you define as recovery? For me, recovery is when kids are catching up to their schoolwork, when kids are able to play football again, with their mates. That to me is a sign of recovery. Commercially, how long does it take to recover? I don't know. Every business will differ. I look at our business. We have 1,100 square meters, and when we're allowed to open, let me emphasize that word, I can only have 100 guests in here across 1,100 square meters. So my recovery is protracted as a result of it. Your hands are tied. I'm confident we'll recover. I'm confident those that will be at the end of it will be stronger than ever and know their businesses intimately. But each venue and each business and each family, it's up to them to determine what recovery looks like and what the definition of recovery is for them. All I ask is that they always say, we got a leader until we needed to be led. Whether it's a prime minister or a premier or whatever it is, anyone can sail a ship when the sea's calm. As a leader, you need to navigate turbulent waters. And I'm not seeing it. I really am not. So for me, I'll control what's in front of me, and that's my family and my business. So my recovery, in answer to your question, Andrew, will be quick because I'll make sure it's bloody quick.
I can hear that, mate. And is anything else we could be doing differently, in your opinion?
I don't think you want me to say this. Mate, of course.
I've been enjoying this so far, mate. Everything you've said has, basically resonated with myself. So, mate, I'd love to hear it, to be honest. So
yeah, look, I think if you try something and you've been trying it for 18 months and it's clearly not working, try something new. And I'm sure you'll make of that what you will, because in the meantime, we're risking lives and livelihoods. That's all I can say.
That is very, very true, my friend. And, as we're talking, Rabbi, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I know your business and I know our business, the thing that strikes me is that the impact, we're the front line in real estate. We're dealing with people from all different types of backgrounds, different, roles in life, different positions in life, different ethnic backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, and we're the front line. We deal with them and we navigate through the process of marketing, selling their property, dealing with other different people and marrying them all up. I look at you, you're the front line of what you do. You are the end retailer of a product. And I can't help but think of the impact that it would have on the whole supply chain with what you physically retail. So I'd like to just get an insight, because you talk firsthand to your suppliers. What impact does it have when these lockdowns get called? Because I know the last one, it came out at 4:30 in the afternoon, and by 8 o'clock that night, bang, done, just before a weekend. You, as an operator, have to plan, don't you? You've got to have supply. So what about the people that supply you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Jim, I've had grown men in tears on the phone. In tears. Now, you think of a farmer who's spent, to pick tomatoes, it didn't just happen Thursday morning. There's a process. There's an entire season that is affected. We had, just anecdotally, I'll give you an example. We had the guy who supplies soft herbs and edible flowers, and pretty much to the top end of town in terms of restaurants, and that make dishes look pretty. And it's probably not my area of expertise, but I came across this particular gentleman who I know, and he was in tears. He was sitting on $100,000 worth of herbs, edible flowers, and other items that he can't do anything with. Now, I'm not sure whether or not you've done any business with Italian fruiterers in particular, and that's a shout out to all my Italian mates, but they're not really inclined to be giving a refund. Yeah. So what's he do? What's he do with all those items? Our seafood suppliers, what do they do with their fresh seafood? Yes, you can pivot. Yes, you can start doing, selling to homes and what have you. But the venue that would take 50 dozen oysters for the weekend, a home might take a dozen. So he's got to find 50 homes. So I just don't think there's any consideration to the repercussions of announcements that are made without real thought. And then, the insult to injury is, but you're a small business or a medium-sized business, and here's $3,200. That should make it all okay. Well, no, it doesn't. And none of us are in business for handouts, I can assure you. We're in business because we want to make a difference, and, we're traders and operators and all the rest of it, employ people and remain engaged and deliver goods and services, not for handouts, let alone when they're dismal.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Well, mate, I've got to tell you, this morning has been an absolutely wonderful insight, and I sincerely hope that our followers and people that have been watching really got to gain an insight into what it's like in another industry, and importantly in hospitality. So from Andrew and myself, Ravi, from the bottom of our heart, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your wisdom, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. The one thing I will say, and we will make sure that we tag the Botanical Hotel in, the minute, ladies and gentlemen, that Melbourne opens up, and the minute that we can all travel outside our 5 kilometres, please, let's get down. Let's go and do a lap of the tan. Let's go and book and drop into the Botanical and have a couple of beers and have a burger or a steak or a nice meal and enjoy what is, without question, in my opinion, the best venue in Melbourne. So, Ravi, thank you, my friend. And,
thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
I will drop in for a coffee when I'm walking around.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Robbie, mate. Been a pleasure, mate. And as I said, mate, listening to your words, and I believe when we do these things for our clients and our friends and family, what you said today has been absolutely spot on, mate. So thanks for sharing your information, and it's definitely given me an insight of your industry as well. So well done, mate, and we definitely applaud you, mate, in these times.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Thanks, Jim.